If you have anxiety and want to chill, can you simply take a pill? That's what this video is about. Hey guys, back finally to finish this anxiety series. Sorry I had to take so long of a break. I was around someone who got exposed, and at about the time that I was able to be back to normal, I started having similar symptoms, so I went to the doctors and got tested, and it came back negative, but the doctor was like, I don't believe that, so we had another test, and that test came back inconclusive, which is really annoying, and then I had another test, which is finally negative today, but here I am. So, yep, I've been in quarantine for a long time, so I kind of put off doing this because I was like, oh man, my background's not so fancy, the audio is probably not going to be as good. But here we are, because why not? So in this anxiety series, we've covered how when we have anxiety, we want to invite God into that, not push it away. And then we've talked about, so far, two different sources of anxiety. There's circumstantial anxiety, past-driven anxiety, and then today we'll be talking about a third source, chemical imbalances in our brains. Now, I'm no scientist, and to be honest, I don't really understand how chemicals affect our feelings and emotions, but here's what I do know. Sometimes there can be an imbalance in certain chemicals in our brains that can lead to us feeling anxious when we don't need to be. There's no external circumstance causing our anxiety, and there's no past trauma that we need to deal with. But the anxiety is still there and negatively impacts our lives. When this happens, the best thing to do is to talk to a healthcare professional. They can give us a medication that can correct this imbalance in our brains, which makes the anxiety go away. Now, sometimes this can feel like failure, like we don't have enough faith in God to take away our anxiety. While God certainly can take away our anxiety through supernatural means, He gave us these medications as a gift. God created our brains and He created science. He knows how it all works. It's just like if you had a broken bone. God could totally heal that broken bone today, in an instant. Or He could heal it through a doctor and the medical practices that doctors learned over years. So yes, it's okay to take anti-anxiety medication. God can heal you through the power of prayer and His healing, but that healing can come through the medication. This kind of medication can be helpful even if our anxiety isn't caused by a chemical imbalance. If our circumstantial or past-driven anxiety is so overwhelming that we can't even begin the process of dealing with it, taking this kind of medication can be a helpful way to create a buffer, so that way we can get our feet under us. That being said, it's important to not use this kind of medication as a long-term solution if our anxiety isn't caused by a chemical imbalance. That can lead to other problems down the road. So we've talked about different causes of anxiety, circumstantial, past-driven, and now chemical imbalance. But this isn't the end-all be-all to anxiety. It would be really nice if we could fit our anxiety neatly into one of those three boxes every time. But that's not always the case. Sometimes our anxiety will be a mix of one or two or even all three. And while these three potential causes are helpful when we think about anxiety, we're still studying the brain and how it works. As science develops, our understanding of anxiety will continue to develop. All that to say, I'm not a genius or a counselor. If you hear someone teaching something different about anxiety than anything I've said, give it a fair chance. Compare it to what scripture and otherwise counsel says. I hope you guys have enjoyed this series. If you have, like this video, and if you think that this would be helpful to someone else that you know, share it with them. If you want to see more of these kind of videos, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.